Hello everyone. Whew. This is the first time I have done or gone live, whatever you want to call it, in forever. So it feels a little bit nerve-wracking actually, but I've got a lot that I want to say. There's been a lot on my mind for probably the past year really that's been brewing and stirring up, and yeah, I want to share it. I feel ready to share it. I think I have been scared to use my voice out of fear of persecution wounds, but that's not serving anyone. And some of these things I think really need to be brought to light just so that people can be aware of them. We're all entitled to have our own opinion and own experience, but there may be some things that people may not be aware of. So that's what I'm here to do, just shine a light on awareness. And just a trigger warning, I will be touching on some things such as abuse and trafficking. So if you are someone that may have trauma around this, or you may feel uncomfortable, then perhaps this isn't the best conversation for you to watch and join in on. But yeah, I'm going to be talking about 3 different topics, are based around yoga. And I just wanted to do a live because I don't think that I could fit in this information in 3 minutes of a reel. And it gives me time to just breathe and get through this information slowly, taking some breaths. So yeah, if you're joining and you don't have time to watch it all, just feel free to watch the recording. I'll share it on my page. So first of all, I just want to talk about yoga in general, and I'm going to address the clear elephant in the room. Yes, I am an English white woman talking about yoga. I fully own up to that. I'm not claiming to be any special guru. I'm not claiming to be an expert or a master. None of that. I've been practicing yoga for 13 plus years now, teaching professionally for 5, so I still feel like I am a baby on my yoga journey. But I do want to honor the teachings that I was given, but I just want to address that clear elephant in the room. Like I know that it is not from my lineage, yoga, but I also really want to honor the teachings and the practices, and I like to think that I am integral with the teachings that I was given and gifted. I'm not changing them, I'm not manipulating them for my own wealth, I'm not trying to change them for like a clever marketing campaign. Like I always advertise the yoga that I teach as traditional yoga, and I still to this day look back on all of my teachings and follow the guidance that I was given. So on that topic, I'm just going to get off my chest what is annoying me about yoga. So I was taught traditional Hatha Kundalini yoga, which is a slow, steady, really embodied practice. Like it's a huge journey that actually takes you deeper into your body so that you can really learn about your body and build this very deep embodied relationship with your body. That's why it's slow and steady. And I cannot find a yoga class to join which is like these teachings. There are no yoga classes. There are no hatha yoga classes to start with. So that's a problem for me. It's like, how am I supposed to keep up my practice? Yes, of course, there's amazing stuff online and I honor that. But in person, that is the magic. You know, one of the parts of yoga is that we come together in community. We support the teacher, we support each other. And I can't find that. And what really bothers me is that all of the yoga that seems to be around is hot yoga, fast yoga, workout yoga, rocket yoga, power yoga. And the reason why I have a problem with it is it's because the intention behind it is, let's be faster, let's be better, let's be stronger, let's be more hardcore. It's losing that intention of the traditional yogic teachings. I have no issue with you wanting to become a fitter, stronger, more powerful version of yourself, right? But I just think that we need to address, and I know a lot of people are also annoyed by this, of how the West has taken yoga and just jumbled it up, chewed it up, and then spat out all the teachings and created whatever it has wanted with it, right? When, if we are really, really honest with ourselves, as Westerners, we have stolen this ancient technology. We've stolen it. Not only as colonizers, we've stolen it, but we're not honoring it. We're not honoring it because we are manipulating it and recreating it to be something that it is not true to the original teachings for our own wealth and for our own egotistical gains and benefits. I'm just going to say that truth as it is, because there are a lot of people that aren't happy with it. And let's go even further. There are yoga discos and people meeting up and having, studio parties where they're serving alcohol. Okay. And it's just like, you can do whatever you want as a human being, but when you combine spiritual, ancient practices, sacred practices with drinking and partying, like, that's a complete abomination. So yeah. And we all know, right? Alcohol is a neurotoxin. Alcohol lowers your vibration. It disconnects you from yourself and from your body. So when you're doing this, whilst doing a sacred embodied practice, it's like going like this, and it's dangerous. It's also dangerous, These practices are something that should be done with full awareness. So yeah, it annoys me what we are doing with yoga in the West, and almost the cheek that we have just taken these ancient sacred practices and just completely manipulated and shat all over them. I have to say that. And not everyone, because there are some amazing teachers who are honouring the traditional teachings, but I'm just talking about a general collective that I'm experiencing. It's worse in cities, but having lived in England for the last 5 years, and then obviously before that when I was younger, even then, it's always been, the face of yoga has always been harder, faster, better, stronger. It's almost this insidious needing to feed on the ego, to be the most acrobatic, the most flexible, who can do the handstands. And that's got nothing to do with yoga. It's got nothing to do with it. And what also irritates me about this is that the real magic of a true yogic practice is that it's slow, and it's that slow journey that you go on through yourself. It's like this incredible journey. And when you are doing these very fast-paced, intensely muscle-building, sweating, where your whole body is tense, that's all you can think about. So you're not in the body, you're not moving with the body, you're not aware of yourself and the journey that you're going on. So it's like the intention has been lost. And another thing that annoys me as well is yoga advertisements have become this like sexual thing where women are showing off their bodies, and it's always these like skinny blonde women. Why aren't we showing a more diverse range of yogis, right? Because, and this is it. This is something that I wanted to share. Yoga that I was taught, Hatha yoga, everyone can do it. It's inclusive, no matter your age, No matter your physical ability, you can even do it sitting in a chair, you can do it laying down. There is practices for everyone, no matter your health condition, no matter your physical size or appearance. It is inclusive and welcoming to everyone. Whereas if I even attempted to go to something like a power yoga or a rocket yoga class, I would struggle. And I've been practicing this. I'm a very physically active person and I would struggle. So it's losing that inclusiveness, and it bears a heavy burden on my heart, because a lot of people who I speak to say they hate yoga, or they've tried it once and it's not for them because they went to a class and they felt really intimidated and they felt rubbish. And that shows you that the intention is ego, faster, keep up, right? When really we want everyone to feel included. We want everyone to feel welcome. It's not about getting better, faster, stronger. It is for everyone. It is a beautiful lifestyle. It's a journey. It's an embodied practice. So that's my topic of conversation for rant 1. Number 2, something that I wanted to speak about is Kundalini yoga, because there is just such misunderstood information about Kundalini yoga, and a lot of people get scared by it, and I know why. You might not know why, but it is advertised as this really spiritual practice where you've got all these white people dressed up in white clothes, dressed as Sikhs. That is not the original traditional Kundalini yoga. That is Yogi Bhajan's Kundalini yoga. Now, he came over from India in the 60s to the West. He came over to America and took some of the old yogic tools and he made them harder, faster, more intense. You get this more intense, experience straight on. And what did we do in the West? We lapped it up because we were like, yeah, this is like free drugs. Okay? And I'm going to hold my hands up and say that I was guilty of that the first time I tried that form of Kundalini yoga. And I'm not saying it's wrong, although you may or may not know this, but Yogi Bhajan has now been outed as a molester, a child trafficker, an abuser of all the people who worked for him. That style of yoga and that school of yoga is still going. So we don't know who in the organization acting under him is still teaching with that level of abuse. So just beware of that, and just to let you know that. But I also just wanted to address, how can we as Westerners take some responsibility for that, right? Because this man came over to the West and he was just look at all these idiots who are just waiting to feed on this stuff. They want to be the best. They want to be better than their neighbor. They want to achieve enlightenment. So I'm just going to feed off this beast, right? So it's a two-way relationship. So the Kundalini yoga that I was taught is the same as Hatha yoga. It's a little bit more intense because you just focus on one chakra for an hour and a half. So it is more honed in and focused in. However, everyone can do it. It is not putting your body under these really extreme circumstances like super long holds or super long breath holds, all of these things. No, it is still caring and considerate for women at different cycles of their life and their bodies. Go to most yoga classes these days and no one is giving advice for women who are menstruating, pregnant at different ages of their life. That's something that really angers me as well. But traditional Kundalini Yoga addresses all of this. It is not what you think. You're encouraged to wear bright colours. The only difference is it is more of a spiritual practice because it includes every single dimension of yoga. So it includes the mantra or the prayer, the opening prayer, and also the importance of having this at the start of a yoga class is that it protects the space. And this is something that's really missing from these really intense spiritual practices. The opening prayer and protection is not there. So that's included. There's pranayama, which is breath work. You have the asana, the movement. You have mudras, bandhas, body and hand gestures and holds. You have meditation, and then you also have mantra again at the end to close the space. It is a complete experience, and all of these elements are included for a purpose because it is a spiritual and sacred practice. So that is the traditional Kundalini Yoga. It is not about, and also, the intention of traditional Kundalini Yoga is not to have a Kundalini awakening. That is not the intention. That can happen to you if you practice it, but it should not be your intention to make it happen or try to force it to happen quickly. It's not the intention. The intention of Kundalini Yoga is just to deepen your spiritual experience, deepen your embodiment and knowledge of your body and your experience here on this earth, and then also your connection to God and all of the dimensions of existence. That is the intention. It is not to gain quick and fast enlightenment. Kundalini Yoga for me it's been an incredible toolkit to support me in releasing myself from long lifetimes of addictions. It's helped me to become really, really aware of my body, noticing like when I've got a pain. It will guide me to what is out of balance internally. It's a really incredibly intelligent technology. So it irritates me. It irritates me that it's been used and abused and people are scared of it because they think they're suddenly going to have this like big awakening and the world's going to change. It's not necessarily going to happen, but also if you're with the right teacher, then they are going to look after you and support you through these big energetic shifts, right? But if you are going to a class where you're told that you have to dress in white or dress up as a Sikh and you're not an Indian person, then you might be in more of a cult environment. If you're being told that it's usually when the rules come in, you're told you have to do all of these set of things to be holy. That's when it becomes more culty. So yes, that's what I wanted to say about Kundalini Yoga. And just on the back of that, I would really empower you when you are going on your yoga journey to research the different styles of yoga. You know, the internet, we have this incredible tool at our fingertips. The internet can empower us to research. There's so many different styles of yoga today, but perhaps just try looking up traditional yoga. And seeing how you feel. You might be surprised. You might feel more welcomed. You might feel more included in the practice if you just look up and realize that there are amazing teachers out there that are actually really going to support you and not push you way beyond your limits, but they're going to meet you exactly where you're at and guide you in the way of what your body is capable of doing. So I empower you to do that. And to take it even a step further, I empower you to ask the yoga teacher or the yoga organization which school of yoga they are teaching. And then you can do some research and check in on the integrity of that school of yoga, because there have been a lot of gurus and schools, really surprising ancient schools of yoga that have come forward now, been brought to light. People, bless their souls, have whistleblown about the gurus that have been mistreating men and women in the organization. So I really, really encourage you, because any spiritual practice that we're doing, at the very core of a spiritual practice is integrity, right? So if we're doing something, why shouldn't we be integral in our own actions to begin with, by asking them, please, could you tell me which school of yoga this is from? Who are the teachers? You know, what is the lineage? Ask these questions. Don't be afraid. And you can ask me if you want to know about these schools of yoga. You can look on the internet. If anyone wants one-to-one yoga with me, I'm more than happy to tell you about the amazing yoga ashram that I was taught at, which is the most beautiful family-run yoga ashram in Rishikesh. It was no big marketing scheme. It was just really humble, kind, and family run. Very welcoming, very accepting, and they spoke their truth as well. This was 5 years ago, and they were very upset about how the West was representing yoga. So that's that. And then finally, before I end my rant, I want to talk about, this is an extension of Kundalini. I want to talk about Kundalini activation. This has been something that has been really upsetting me for maybe even 2 years now, since I've been seeing it. So Kundalini activation has now become this, I don't know what to call it, has become a retreat or a service that you can get from someone, where you go along and they do all of these hand movements and basically force you to have a Kundalini activation. I need to let out a big sigh for this. So there's so many things I can say on this. First of all, having someone else manipulate your energy to forcefully awaken that energy. Number one, why are you doing that? What is the intention? Why do you want to have this forced awakening and activation? I'm just asking these questions to broaden your mind a bit. Is it an egoic thing? What is the intention behind that? Number two, Kundalini yoga is a toolkit given to us so that we can manipulate our own energy, right? It's sovereign. We are the ones in control. And that's the point. It's to become sovereign in our bodies and be the ones that can feel that energy. And I have to tell you, after years and years of practicing Kundalini yoga, I can control the Kundalini energy flowing up and down through my body. It's taken years and I can do it, but it feels controlled, it feels safe, and it feels good for me to practice. So the problem with going to these Kundalini activations is, well, there's so many problems, but number one, someone else is manipulating your energy. So you are giving all of your power away to someone, right? And what is this practice? What qualifications does this person have to be manipulating your energy? That's what I want to know. Because even with the quantum healing, you can do it at a distance and there's always a safe space, and it's not hands-on and it's not a pulling of the energy. It is a very much give and take scenario. It is consensual. Second of all, if you are forcefully bringing someone into a Kundalini activation or a Kundalini awakening, what is your intention for doing that for that person? And how are you going to look after them when they've suddenly awakened and activated all of this crazy energy that's been laying dormant in them for years? How are you going to hold them and take care of them during that crazy intense integration process? if you don't already know all of the yogic tools or maybe other shamanic practices, something that's going to really help people to integrate that energy, that huge energy that's been released from you. And for some people, you can just have this massive awakening and go completely insane. Like, people have had a forced Kundalini awakening and they have gone mad because they haven't had the right support or the right people looking after them, or the people with enough experience and understanding of what that means to take care of them. But the main issue that I have with this Kundalini activation now that's going around the internet is that the marketing that is being used for it is videos, mainly of women as well, mainly of women. So of course that pisses me off, but mainly of women convulsing like this. So very sexual movements, convulsing when they are out of control because someone else is manipulating their energy, making orgasm sounds. That is being filmed when women, especially women, are in a very vulnerable state, having their energy manipulated. It's being filmed and used as marketing material. That is abuse. That is abusive. And that's what's drawing people in. So there is something really dark and insidious about this that needs to be talked about. And I have seen it. I know, and I'm really grateful because I have seen other voices voicing this. So thank you. But I want to share this more because everything about it is wrong. Okay? We shouldn't be using sexual imagery to sell. Yeah, and John, thank you. It's often fake. It's often fake. And I don't know if that's worse or better, you know. Either way, we shouldn't be doing this because spiritual practices, any sacred work, the clue is in the name, it's sacred. It's sacred. You go to a ceremony and you can't have a phone, you can't take photos, you can't take videos when you're manipulating the energy so much that people are writhing and contorting. That is sacred. You don't want to leak that energy out, especially not into social media. So if anyone's watching this and you feel personally attacked, I'm sorry, but I hope that it helps you just to consider what you're doing and why you're doing it as well, okay? And yeah, I mean, just especially as well if there's a man. Yeah, ladies facilitating after a one-day course. Thank you, Angela. Thank you. You know, even myself as a yoga teacher, my yoga teacher training was 2 months and I'm still like, I don't feel like I have enough knowledge and enough training, you know, and it's scary, and I'm not manipulating people's energy. I'm just teaching the tools. But it's like, why would you want someone to finger your auric field? Like, it's creepy, it's scary, and it's dangerous as well, because if you don't also have the training to set up a safe space and protect the energy, whatever is being released from a woman or from a man could just hop onto someone else, or the practitioner could take on that energy. So there could be all kinds of entities, demons, demonic entities and energies at play in these spaces. It's a really, really important one to talk about. And I think I'm going to talk about this more. I might actually just do a separate reel to really zoom in on this. And I'm just going to read some of the comments. Thank you everyone for joining in. These forced activations feel like a form of energetic abuse. Yeah, I agree. And it's again, going back to what I was saying before, it's feeding into this insidious patriarchal conditioned need for wanting everything now, fast, quick, hard, strong. And it's feeding into it. And we don't want that. That's not the heart-centered, kind, loving, all humanity embracing world that we are creating. No, it's slow and it's steady and it's kind and it's compassionate. It's almost like these activations are saying, right, everyone's quick, and it's not honoring, and it's not respecting, and it's not holding in right relation where people are on their journey. Because some people in this lifetime are meant to have an awakening in their 60s, 70s, 80s, and some are meant to have it, as soon as they're born in childhood, and it stays with them for their whole life, and everywhere in between. So who are we to choose that we can change and we can manipulate this and make it happen more quickly? This is why I just want to be really in honor of all of the ancient and traditional practices, especially as a Westerner, because I feel like, great, now I'm being put into a box as this white woman who's just abusing all of these amazing ancient traditions, but actually we have a voice to step forward and speak up on what we're seeing around us. We have the power and the privilege to have a voice that will be heard and that will be seen. And Angela, what can we do? I'm seeing it across so many different healing modalities. So what can we do as individuals? We can just be even more integral. I love it when these things happen in a way, because it always makes me come back into myself and say, okay, how can I be more in right relation? How can I be more integral? Maybe I need to share more about the traditional yoga and share more about the practices from the source and get that out there so that it's just not my voice. And I do really think that where we have a platform to share, we should, because we can share in a kind, loving way to help share awareness that's not attacking. Unfortunately, social media has become a bit of a war zone at the moment, which is, from people that I've been speaking to, it's been putting us off from sharing our voices, because it just seems like everyone's dropping bombs left, right and centre. But I almost think that is deterring us in a way. It's just it's becoming another thing that's pushing away the truth. And the truth, heart-centered truth, always comes through as clean and as clear and coming from a loving and kind place. So I think that we should just keep remembering this, that our voices are valid and we can be way showers and protectors of the ancient technologies, and just do the best that we can to keep sharing these and protecting these and honouring these and calling people out when we see something that we don't like, and be ready for the backlash. Spreading truth and spreading love, I believe, is more important than ourselves as individuals. I've come to realise that now. I used to be so worried about people attacking me on the internet, but what's more important, my own ego or the whole of humanity? So yeah, I hope that helps. I'm just reading the last few comments. I don't want to make this like a crazy long live, because I would love to give people the opportunity to watch the replay. The dark side has powerfully infected many spiritual practices. Yes, and also it has, because we're letting it. And that's what the lack of experience calls in, because when we don't have the experience, as you know so well, John, like you and I know, if we don't have the experience to set up a safe space and hold these people in safety and protection and sovereignty, all kinds of energies and forces can come in. So the dark side has infected many spiritual practices, but we've allowed it as well. So I think when we take that responsibility, that can also empower us to do better and practice with more safety, more integrity. So yeah, that's great, John, as well, what you said in your work with more transparency, more vulnerability and more principles. That's a great one too. What we can do is be more vulnerable and own up to our mistakes, own up to things that we've done wrong, own up to the fact that we're not perfect, and admit that, because it's also a part of the insidious Western spiritual wave that's now in like full force is the falseness of it, and this perfectionism and this drive to be this, you know, perfect, like famous person on Instagram who knows everything and has all these sold out retreats, when actually most of us are just craving genuine, real, heart-centered human connection. We've just been, and I'm speaking collectively here, not individually, we've just been sucked in by the aesthetics and the false promises and kind of the bells and whistles and glitz and glam. And it's not our fault. It's just the patriarchal society and system that we've lived in that's just become so big and all consuming. So yeah, the more vulnerable that we can be, the more real as well, like showing up when your hair's a bit fluffy and you haven't slept very well, you know, and just doing it anyway, and just being real, being beautifully, perfectly imperfect. So yeah, thank you for those that have listened to me have a rant. I'm never ever attacking anyone, but also if I don't share what's on my mind, then I'm attacking myself essentially. But it's always coming from the heart, from truth. Thank you, Angela, sending you so much love. Thank you, John, and thank you everyone else who joined this live, and for anyone who watches the recording, please feel free to message me, and I will always be up for a heart-centered conversation about this. If there's something that angers you or triggers you, just let me know and let's talk about it. I'd love to. Happy Friday, everyone. Have a beautiful day, and yeah, just keep being you. Keep being this amazing, unique individual that you are. Respect your teachings. If you are a Westerner who is teaching practices that are not from your country or your lineage, maybe just think about how you can respect that a bit more and be more true to it and share those truths more rather than just your own egoic sense. And this is something that I have to keep on asking myself over and over again. But let's do it. Let's be the best humans that we can be. Oh, thank you, Johar, as well. Have a beautiful day, and I'll speak soon. I'm going to be doing more lives and more podcasts now. I think it's a time for conversation and truth. So much love.